Lively up yourself and don't be no dreads. Lively up yourself, Correga is another bag.
Before we get too deep into it, I know a lot of people might know Adrian or Pinch separately, so I just wanted, for the people who maybe don't know them one or the other, or don't know too much about their new combination project, I just wanted to fill them in. If you guys could just tell us a few minutes about your past. I know yours is longer than Pinch's, but you guys have both done a lot in your time.
So I kind of started out around sort of 2004, getting involved with dubstep. It was a pretty young scene, 2003, when I started listening to it and checking the nights in London. It made such an impression on me that I felt the sound would really fit in Bristol. So I started doing nights from January 2004 and slowly saving up enough money to put on bigger nights and starting a label. And my own production journey kind of began around that time as well. I had a very basic setup and I was making tunes, and I guess I got kind of lucky with one of my early releases, a tune called Koali, which a lot of people picked up on and helped set me up a little bit for being known about and DJing, and it kind of just all built really from those early years and getting involved with the sound, which was much more minimal and cinematic at the time. I mean, what most people think of dubstep now, if you think of your Skrillex and a lot of the other US artists, Datsik and people like this, it's a much noisier engagement of sound, and it's not as kind of relaxing is the wrong word. I'm looking for something a bit along these kind of lines, but it's the balance of the frequencies are kind of much more mid-range focused in a lot of the newer production of dubstep. In the earlier days, there was a lot less mid-range and a lot more focus on the sub bass and the movement of the sub bass. So just to tie it all back round again, those were my early days, and then we kind of started working together. I still have a label night. I do a club called Fabric in London, and I got the opportunity to invite Adrian down a couple of years ago to play because I was a long-standing fan. My older brother got me into the music when I was about 10, and I've been listening to records that Adrian's been making for 22 years. And this opportunity came up, and he returned the favour, I guess. Got me to play at On You Sound night in Paris, and we hung out. Decided we were going to make some dubplate VIP versions of tracks which no one else could have. We'd have sort of exclusive ammunition for our DJ sets. And I guess a couple of days into sitting in the studio with Adrian, we're doing all this new stuff. And I remember turning to Adrian going, "So what are we doing now?" And Adrian looked at me and went, "I think we're doing an album." And it's kind of just grown from there. So we decided to develop a live show at the beginning of this year. It's still, I guess, in development. The rough premise is, as you can see in front of us, building a studio on stage.
How many? I was going to say, how many people in here actually produce music yourselves? Nearly all of you, don't you?
Dubspot.
Okay. What we're doing, I'm suggesting, because if you're interested, I mean, doing these workshops is obviously you want to get something from it. Well, I might get a few of you up at a time, but we're doing here. Pinch can say he starts basically working Cubase, really, don't you?
No,
not Cubase.
I write my music in Logic.
Logic,
for the actual live show, it's all kind of powered through Ableton, and
then we go to Pro Tools, don't we? After that, and then back to that.
Oh, it's bouncing between 3 or 4 different programs before it actually hits wax. But yeah, would you want me to talk through how it goes?
Definitely the technicals. I just wanted to say for you guys, I know for the audience here, one of the reasons I'm excited you're both here is to kind of contrast. Adrian's got a really rich history in analog production and Pinch coming from digital production. I think we've got a really unique combination. So as much as you guys want to talk about the technology of what you're doing, specific programs, I think this is really the audience, being a Dubspot-oriented crew here, to talk about. Feel free to get nerdy.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll be honest. I'm not the most schooled on Ableton. It's still something I'm getting my head around. I know Logic a lot more comfortably, but the basic premise is we separate the tracks that we've made together into kind of 8 categories. The first one being a kick drum, the next one being snare or the clap, the third being the hi-hats, the fourth being the rest of the other drums. It could be toms, or it could be bongos, other kind of percussion. Then we have the bass on the 5th, vocals on the 6th, and then we have a rather unprofessionally organised next two stereo pair channels, which we call stereo pair 1 and the stereo pair wildcard, which is kind of variable between the different tracks. Yeah. So I have this, it's a fairly basic controller, I'm sure you've heard of the APC40, and just using this to kind of trigger the sounds, and each of the tracks are kind of split into various different stem sections that will launch at different points in the track, and also different loops from each part of it, so we can kind of go in between tracks, bringing in and dropping out different parts from different tunes. And it's sort of like, I guess there's an element of my DJ history coming in there, the idea of a more fluid continuity of music rather than just playing a song and it finishing and then playing another one, kind of creating a more of a journey experience. And then these are all oh, there we go. These are all going then in those outputs I've just described. They're going to Adrian's desk, so he's got full control to dub it out. I'm sure you can explain a bit more about how you set up the sends and so forth. And then we both have one of these Roland SPD drum pads, which is loaded with some sounds from the tracks, vocals, drum hits, weird noises, and then a whole just range of other strange sounds and samples that can be used to drop in and out of various tunes. And then Adrian, I'm sure, can take you across the journey of the rest of the desk and what he does with it.
Yeah. How many of you work with analog equipment? We've got an analog mixing desk. You work on it, yes, but no one else works with analog, no?
Adrian, can you give us a little bit in this context of your history? I know we got into the technicals quick, but just summarize, because you've got such a rich history on this.
Well, I like
as
Rob.
well.
Like Rob, I started out at the age of 12, 13 as a DJing. I was running afternoon clubs in the town where I lived, playing to like 600 kids every Saturday and Sunday afternoon. I'd almost stopped doing that by the time I was 16, and by the time I was 17 I was a junior partner in a Jamaican reggae label. I was choosing all the music we released. That was called Carib Gems. That finished by the time I was 19, and I started another label called Hit Run, and that's when I did my first ever production, where I bluffed my way into making a record called Dub from Creation by Creation Rebel, and then the next year another album called Starship Africa. And I just blundered my way along, really. I put my name on a record as a kind of fan who'd got his hand on a mixing desk, and then I just was very lucky, I think, to get enough hours in a studio to learn, because my approach to the sound, I learnt a lot from working with non-reggae people, checking out the ideas and approach of everyone from Connie Plank to obviously all the great Jamaican producers, but also a lot of the great American producers as well, like everything from Link Ray to, God, we go on the Wall of Sound, Phil Spector, everything, but gleaning things of anti-production techniques, working with bands like The Fall that I produced, no reverb, no delay, nothing, just dry, and incorporating the ideas you learn from all other people's talent and adapting it to your own. That's kind of, and I've run my current label, On You Sound, now since December 1980. I also did a lot of the first ever remixes in England back in kind of 82, 83, from Depeche Mode to producing a lot of noise bands like Ministry's first album. So very odd, and then all the noise things. I did the first Nine Inch Nails track, Down on It. We mixed that in about 3 hours in London as well. And then I've flirted in and out of my, other things, but my main love has always turned back to Jamaican stuff. And Rob, again, the new bass-friendly things from jungle to dubstep, whatever. It is just, to me, an evolution rather than staying in the area of nostalgia, which is the end of the music. What I love is, in my opinion, I've seen it evolve, and I can actually play a lot of the great Jamaican tunes back to back with something that Rob may have produced now. It all kind of fits into me. What maybe we should do is maybe run a tune, and I'll do we will run a tune and do what we're going to do tonight for you. Maybe we'll choose a tune in a second. But first I've got, like, for example, here I've got my pad. He's got a pad. I've got a noise machine that I couldn't get working because I can't get the power working properly. That's a bit sad, but it's a great noise machine. I've got this machine I borrowed from Eventide. It was my favourite, one of my favourite makers of outboard equipment. So I've got one here, I've got a delay here, a second delay, a reverb here, a second reverb here, a third reverb here, and that's what I'm using to spice up what Rob's doing. He's processing things here in the Ableton, and he's got a noise pad as well. So my noise pad, I've got loads of things like here that are composite parts of our own production. So we can rip them to bits, take them to bits of our hands. I can deconstruct it. Okay, so basically, what have I got on this? I've got...
Fight for human rights. Come make we fight for human rights. Equality and justice stand for all. Latter days to come, Satan kingdom bound to fall. Equal rights must stand predominate for what Jah originate. Babylon will give I a fight, that's why I man could I never really strive, but through the pounds of Jah, I man I go step it out there.
Okay, so now we've got. Hang on a minute. That's Hugh Brown from many years of my Bim Sherman production. But if I delay him, hang on.
Equality and justice stand for all. Equality and justice. You know.
Should we do... I've got a new one which we're just tinkering around with, so it's 140.
Okay. So we're, just so you know, digitally we're running a tune that's 140 BPM. By consulting my notes, I know that a 16th note at 140 is 240 milliseconds. Now, if I triple that, I get a triplet. Okay, if I triple the 16th note, so that would give me 642. But if I half that and go to 321, I've got what you call a racing triplet. So I've got in place already one delay. I could do a 16th note, 3 16th half notes, and dub-wise, a triplet will make a hi-hat go and like it's going really quickly, almost like double speed. So I'm going to use 2 delays, 3 reverbs, and some silly noises, and we're going to start.
Welcome to Dubspot. We believe in providing you hands-on experience right away. Whether you're completely new to music and want to turn the sounds in your head into a musical reality, or you're an experienced artist looking to refine your skills and add new tools to your arsenal, we're ready to meet you at your level. For students of all ages, all levels, and all styles of music, Dubspot is here to help you achieve your goals. With course offerings both online wherever you are and at our school in the heart of New York City, we are ready to guide you through the next phase of your musical transformation. Whether you want to produce music, DJ, or do both, you've come to the right place. Come explore Dubspot for yourself. Become a part of our community and make music.